I have to admit, seeing how many of you requested this, my hand was pretty much forced. But hey, I'm not complaining. So here we are, diving right back into the world of our favorite dangerous queen. And let me tell you, this episode, it's everything. The rain was coming down hard, making the city lights bleed together into a beautiful, blurry mess. Inside the club, the bass was a constant thrum against your chest, the kind you feel in your bones. Laughter and chatter filled the air, but for Lara, there was only one person in the entire room. Queen. Queen had always been this untouchable figure, a mix of magnetic charm and pure danger. But tonight, something was different. There was a crack in her armor, a hint of vulnerability that made everything feel so much more real. For Lara, the desire she'd been fighting, the thoughts she'd been pushing down, they weren't just thoughts anymore. It was a living, breathing force between them, impossible to ignore. Lara's heart was hammering as she started to move through the crowd. Every step felt like she was crossing a line, stepping into a world she wasn't supposed to be in. She saw Queen talking to someone, but Queen's eyes kept darting back to her, a little flicker of acknowledgement. Then, that infamous smile played on her lips, that knowing, slightly wicked grin. In that instant, all the noise, the music, the people, it all just faded away into the background. You came. Queen's voice was low, a little teasing, as Lara finally stood in front of her. The scent of her perfume hit Lara like a wave. It was warm, dark, and completely intoxicating. It was enough to make her knees feel weak. I wouldn't miss it, Lara managed to say, trying to sound cool and casual, but her voice was shaky, betraying just how nervous she was. This was the moment she had been replaying in her mind for months, the chance to finally be this close to the woman who had completely taken over her thoughts. Queen leaned in, her eyes doing a slow scan, from Lara's head all the way down to her toes. You're brave, or maybe just reckless, she whispered. Then she reached out and gently brushed a damp strand of hair from Lara's face. That one simple touch, so small, so light, sent a jolt, a shiver, all the way down Lara's spine. That was the thing with Queen, the thrill of danger was always there. Every conversation felt like a gamble, every smile was a risk. But it was a risk Lara was more than willing to take. It was impossible to resist. They found a quieter corner, away from the chaos of the dance floor and the judging eyes of the crowd. The rain was still drumming against the big glass windows, creating these beautiful streaks of light that danced across their faces. And then, Queen's hand found Lara's, her fingers lacing through them like they were always meant to be there. This wasn't just about physical attraction anymore. It was something deeper, a connection that didn't need words to be understood. I've wanted this, Lara finally admitted, her voice so soft it was almost lost in the sound of the rain. For so long, Queen's whole expression softened. For a split second, that tough exterior melted away, and Lara saw a flash of that vulnerability she'd noticed earlier. Dangerous things come with a price, Queen said, her voice just as quiet. She gently traced Lara's jawline with her fingertip. Are you sure you're ready for that? Lara didn't even have to think about it. She didn't hesitate for a second. With you? Always. And then it happened. The kiss. It wasn't rushed or frantic. It was slow, deliberate. And it tasted like everything they hadn't said, like rebellion, like longing, like all the secrets they were now sharing. It was electric. The kind of kiss that makes the entire world just disappear. The club, the rain, the city lights, none of it mattered. The only thing that was real was Queen's lips on hers. They pulled back, just enough to breathe, their foreheads resting against each other. You're my favorite, Queen confessed, her voice barely a whisper, almost lost to the storm outside. But don't let anyone else know. A smile spread across Lara's face. The idea of having this secret, just between them, only made it all feel more intense, more special. Your secret's safe with me, she whispered back, and she meant it. The hours just melted away. They talked, they laughed, they just held each other close in their little bubble. Queen started opening up, sharing stories about her past, about the hard choices she had to make that turned her into the person she was today. She talked about why she built those walls so high around her heart. And for the very first time, Lara got to see behind the mask. She saw not just the dangerous Queen that everyone else saw and feared, but the woman underneath it all, a woman who could be tender, who had been broken, but who could also love so fiercely. Eventually, the storm outside started to calm down, leaving the city streets glistening under the glow of the streetlights. They finally stepped out of the club, wrapped up in each other's arms, just soaking in the quiet intimacy after a night that was so full of noise and chaos. Tomorrow, the world comes back, Lara murmured, her voice soft against Queen's shoulder. Queen nodded, a faint smile on her lips. But tonight, it's just us, and in that one perfect, fleeting moment, they were completely free. Free from the rules, free from what everyone else expected of them, and free from the danger that always seemed to follow Queen around. For Lara, being the Queen's favorite wasn't about having some kind of special privilege. It was about trust. It was about a passion that couldn't be controlled. And it was about a love that simply refused to be tamed. As they walked off into the night, hand in hand, disappearing into the quiet city, it was so clear that this was just the beginning. A dangerous love story, for sure, but it was one they were both willing to risk absolutely everything for. And on that note, we have to leave it there for this part. I know, it's cruel. But trust me, you're going to want to be here for what comes next. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single second. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Welcome back to our breakdown of Stupid Wife, and oh my goodness, what an episode we just witnessed. Season 2, Episode 7, titled Confession, was everything we've been waiting for and so much more. This wasn't just another episode. This was the turning point, the moment that will define Clarice and Mariana's story from here on out. Let's dive right in and unpack all the emotions from this beautiful, heart-stopping chapter. The episode opens with this incredibly atmospheric scene. Rain is falling over the city, creating this soft, almost melancholic mood. Inside, everything is quiet, but the silence is just screaming with unspoken words. Clarice and Mariana are standing, facing each other, and you can just feel the tension, the years of hidden feelings simmering right below the surface. This is it. This is the moment of truth. We start with Clarice. Her heart is racing, and you can see the conflict, the realization dawning on her. She's always known there was this invisible thread connecting her to Mariana, something that went way beyond just being friends or roommates. It's a deep, profound connection that she's been too scared to even admit to herself, let alone to Mariana. But tonight, the air is different. The fear is still there, but it's mixed with a new sense of urgency, a feeling that she can't run from it anymore. The walls she's built around her heart are starting to crumble. Then we have Mariana, holding an envelope. That envelope felt like it contained the weight of the entire world, didn't it? Her eyes hold this deep, unreadable emotion, and her voice trembles when she speaks. Clarice, I need to tell you something. That line alone was enough to send shivers down my spine. The vulnerability in her voice, the sheer bravery it took to even start that sentence, was just phenomenal. You could see she was at her breaking point, that she couldn't carry this secret any longer. Clarice's reaction is so raw and real. She tries to play it cool, asking, "What is it, Mari?" But her voice cracks. That mix of fear and desperate hope is written all over her face. She takes a step closer, and with every inch of space she closes, the electricity between them just crackles. It's this magnetic pull that neither of them can resist any longer. The world shrinks until it's just the two of them in that living room. And then, the confession. Mariana opens the envelope, revealing old letters, photos, a collection of their shared history, their unspoken love story. It's such a powerful visual. It's not just words. She's showing Clarice the proof, the evidence of a love that has been growing for years. She looks up, her eyes glistening, and finally says the words we've all been dying to hear. I tried to ignore my feelings, but I can't anymore. I love you, Clarice. The silence that follows is deafening. Time literally stops. You can almost hear Clarice's heart pounding. Everything she's ever wanted, every secret desire she's buried deep inside, is suddenly out in the open. The camera work here was just perfect, focusing on Clarice's shaking hands, her wide eyes, capturing the sheer shock and overwhelming joy of that moment. She's processing it, realizing this isn't a dream. Her response is just as beautiful and vulnerable. Mariana, I love you too. The quiver in her voice, the hesitation before she says it, it's all perfect. It's not a grand, rehearsed speech. It's messy, it's real, and it's from the heart. She's finally letting go of her fear and choosing love. She's choosing Mariana. Then comes the kiss. And what a kiss it was. It wasn't rushed or overly dramatic. It was gentle, yet filled with so much pent-up passion. It was a kiss of relief, of discovery, of finally coming home. You could feel years of doubt and fear just melting away in that single moment. The way Mariana's hands go into Clarice's hair, The way Claris cradles her face so tenderly, every single detail was just breathtaking. It was a confirmation of everything they were feeling, a physical manifestation of their emotional breakthrough. I love the symbolism of the rain continuing to fall outside while inside. Everything is warm and safe. It's like the storm of their uncertainty is still raging in the world, but in their own little bubble, they've found their sunshine. They've found their peace. This kiss wasn't an ending. It was the beginning. It was a promise of a future where they can finally be together, without barriers, without hiding. When they pull away, the aftermath is just as sweet as the kiss itself. They're both a little breathless, laughing softly, still caught in this magical haze. Mariana's smile says it all. The fear of rejection, the fear of losing their friendship, it's gone. She says, I was so afraid of losing you, but now, I feel like we're exactly where we're supposed to be. And that's the core of it, isn't it? Finding that one person who makes you feel like you're right where you belong. Claris's response solidifies their new beginning. I'll never let you go again, Mari. The firmness in her voice, mixed with so much tenderness, is her vow. It's a promise to fight for this, to protect what they've just found. The episode ends with them in a simple, loving embrace, just holding each other, listening to the rain. They're savoring the moment, the quiet certainty of their love. It's a new chapter, one where honesty and courage have triumphed over fear and doubt. This episode was a masterclass in emotional storytelling. It showed us that a confession, as terrifying as it can be, is an act of incredible strength. True love demands courage. It's about taking that leap of faith, even when you're terrified of falling. And sometimes, as we saw tonight, one perfect, honest moment, one perfect kiss can truly change everything. Of course, the preview for the next episode already has me on the edge of my seat. It looks like their newfound happiness will be tested immediately. Past secrets are going to surface, and the tension is going to ramp up. This is Stupid Wife after all. We know the drama is never far behind. But for now, let's just bask in the beauty of this episode. Claris and Mariana have finally found each other, and they've allowed themselves the freedom to feel, without fear and without excuses. It was perfect. What did you all think of this episode? Was the confession everything you hoped for? Let me know your favorite moments in the comments below. I could talk about this all day. This was a huge milestone for Claire Mari, and I can't wait to see where their journey takes them next. Thanks so much for watching with me. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown. See you then. Have you ever felt like your life was just a straight line, predictable and maybe a little too safe? That was Lynn's world. Day in, day out, it was all spreadsheets and quiet routines. She lived in her own little bubble, and honestly, she thought that's where she'd stay. But then, Jane happened. Jane was like a bolt of lightning on a clear day, unexpected, bright, and utterly captivating. She was fire and laughter, a whirlwind of beautiful chaos that was about to turn Lynn's world upside down. It all began on a gray, rainy afternoon. Lynn was tucked away in her usual corner at a local cafe, lost in her work, when a splash of color caught her eye. It was Jane, in a brilliant yellow raincoat, looking like she was personally challenging the storm outside. In a classic movie moment, she stumbled, bumping Lynn's table and sending coffee dangerously close to her laptop. Jane's apology was a flurry of wide, sincere eyes and genuine concern. And in that instant, the world outside, the rain, the spreadsheets, it all just faded away. Lynn, usually reserved and a bit flustered by disruptions, expected the moment to pass. But Jane didn't just apologize and walk away. She sat down. Just like that, she pulled up a chair and started talking as if they were old friends catching up. And Lynn, to her own surprise, found herself not just listening, but laughing. Jane's stories were a breath of fresh air, tales of her dog who despised bath time, or the time she danced alone in her living room just because she felt like it. Her energy was infectious. And for the first time in a long time, Lynn felt a crack in the carefully constructed walls around her heart. Those CAF meetings became their ritual. The days blurred into weeks, and soon, Lynn realized she wasn't just going to the CAF for the coffee anymore. She was going for Jane. She was waiting for that bright yellow raincoat, for the smile that lit up the room, for the feeling of warmth that spread through her whenever Jane was near. Jane had this incredible ability to make Lynn's world feel less like a fortress and more like a playground. With Jane, everything felt possible. Everything felt safe, but in a thrilling, exciting new way. One evening, as they walked along the pier with a light rain misting their faces, Jane's hand brushed against Lynn's. A jolt, a spark, a sudden, heart-thumping stop. The air grew thick with unspoken words. Jane turned to her, her voice soft. "You're quiet tonight? Something on your mind?" This was it, the moment of truth. Lynn took a deep breath, the sound of the waves crashing below them. I like you," she whispered, the words feeling so small yet holding the entire weight of her universe. And then, the most beautiful thing happened. Jane's face broke into a smile that was pure sunshine. "I like you too," she said, her fingers lacing through Lynn's. Of course, it wasn't a simple fairy tale ending from there. Lynn was scared. She worried about what her family would think, what the world would say. Her straight path had suddenly taken a turn she never anticipated. But Jane was her rock. She stood by Lynn's side, unwavering and patient, reminding her that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's okay to be seen for who you really are, and that it's absolutely okay to love openly and without apology. Jane became Lynn's anchor in a sea of uncertainty. Their life together became a collection of beautiful, ordinary moments. They'd spend quiet nights binge-watching shows, laughing until they cried. They'd cook together in Jane's small kitchen, dancing barefoot on the cold tiles. They'd share comfortable silences that said more than words ever could. Jane wasn't just Lynn's girlfriend. She was her safe zone. She was the one person who made the world feel manageable, like it was a space they could carve out just for themselves. The real turning point, the moment that defined everything, came on Lynn's birthday. Lynn had always hated birthdays, preferring to let them pass by unnoticed. But Jane, of course, had other plans. She had gathered their friends at their favorite cafe. In the middle of it all, Jane stood up, took Lynn's hand, and the room fell into a gentle hush. With a smile that held all the love in the world, Jane announced, "Lynn chooses Jane." She paused, letting the words hang in the air. Because safe zones aren't always places. Sometimes, they're people. Tears streamed down Lynn's face. The crowded room blurred into a soft focus, with only Jane's clear, steady gaze remaining. In that moment, all the fear, all the doubt, just melted away. Lynn reached up and gently brushed a stray hair from Jane's face. "I choose you too," she said, her voice trembling but filled with a certainty she had never known before. It was a declaration, not just to Jane, but to herself. From that day forward, something inside Lynn shifted. She understood that love isn't about avoiding fear. It's about having the courage to face it. It's about choosing your person every single day, especially when it's hard. And she chose Jane, over and over again. She chose her for the laughter, for the warmth, and for the unshakable belief that they could build their own world together. As they walked home hand in hand that night, the rain had stopped. The city lights shimmered in the puddles on the pavement, painting the world in a beautiful, hopeful glow. And for the first time in her life, Lynn didn't feel like she was hiding. She felt seen, she felt safe, she felt loved, because she had finally learned that the safest place in the entire world isn't a house or a city. It's being held in the arms of the person who loves you for exactly who you are. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next one. The story continues in episode 2 of 24-Hour Love, the mini-series where time is everything, and love is a race against the clock. If you thought the spark between Maya and Elena in episode 1 was electric, get ready for the tension to skyrocket. We're diving deeper into their whirlwind connection, where every single second is packed with unspoken feelings and hidden desires. Remember that chance encounter? Well, it's no longer just a chance. It's become a magnetic pull that neither Maya nor Elena can ignore. The clock is ticking down on their 24 hours, and the pressure is on. Every glance, every touch, every word shared between them now carries the weight of a lifetime of possibilities. Maya, our free-spirited artist, is a fortress of sarcasm and humor. She's brilliant at pushing people away, especially when they get too close. Why? Because being vulnerable terrifies her. Deep down, she's wrestling with feelings for Elena that are so intense, they feel dangerous. She wants to let go, but her fear of getting hurt is a powerful shield. Then there's Elena. She's the grounded, cautious one, the voice of reason. But Maya's wild, unpredictable energy is like a storm she can't help but be drawn into. Elena is used to having a plan, to being in control, but Maya disrupts everything she thought she knew about herself and about love. This clash of personalities is what makes their bond so incredibly thrilling, but also so fragile. One wrong move, and it could all shatter. Episode 2 picks up right after their first night together. We find Elena alone, replaying every moment in her mind. Was that spark real? Or was it just a beautiful, fleeting illusion? She's questioning everything, trying to protect her heart from a potential fall. Meanwhile, Maya is in her own world, completely consumed by the memory of Elena. She can't shake the image of their first touch, the warmth of Elena's hand in hers. She can still hear Elena's laughter echoing in her ears, a sound that's become her new favorite song. The connection hit her harder than she ever expected, and now she's left wondering what comes next. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife when they meet again. They choose a cozy little cafe, a seemingly innocent setting, but their simple greetings are anything but casual. There's an entire conversation happening in the space between their words, a silent language of longing and desire that only they can understand. You can just feel the unspoken question hanging in the air. Do you feel it too? As the day progresses, we watch them navigate this beautiful, awkward dance. There are moments of silence where you can hear their hearts pounding. There's teasing banter that's just a cover for flirtation. And then there are those stolen moments of pure intimacy that take your breath away. A hand that brushes against another just a second too long. A lingering look across the table that says more than words ever could. A shared joke that feels like a private secret. With each of these small gestures, the walls they've so carefully built around their hearts begin to crumble, brick by brick. They're slowly, cautiously letting each other in. But of course, love is never that simple, is it? Just when you think they're about to close the distance, a misunderstanding throws everything off course. Maya, with her deep-seated insecurities, misreads Elena's natural caution as disinterest. She pulls back, convinced she's the only one feeling this intensely. Her humor becomes sharper, her walls go back up, and for a moment, it feels like they might lose this fragile connection before it even has a chance to grow. This is where the story gets real. It takes a raw, heartfelt conversation to clear the air. They find themselves on a quiet rooftop, bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. It's the perfect backdrop for honesty. In this stunning, cinematic scene, they finally lay their fears on the table. Elena admits it first. She confesses that she's been holding back, not because she doesn't feel anything, but because she's scared of how fast and how deeply she's falling for Maya. It's a moment of pure vulnerability, and it's exactly what Maya needs to hear. In turn, Maya opens up in a way we haven't seen before. She confesses her own terror, but also her overwhelming desire to take a leap of faith with Elena. She's willing to risk the heartbreak, because the thought of not knowing what could be is even more painful. It's a pivotal moment where they both decide that this connection, this rare, beautiful thing they've found, is worth the risk. By the end of this episode, everything has changed. Maya and Elena are no longer just two strangers who happen to cross paths. They are two souls who have seen past each other's defenses and have dared to explore a deep, passionate bond. They are acutely aware that their time is limited, which makes every single moment they share that much more precious, that much more intense. So, why will you fall in love with 24-Hour Love? Because it's a heartfelt, authentic exploration of lesbian romance. It captures the dizzying highs and terrifying lows of modern love in a way that feels so real. The characters, Maya and Elena, have this raw, unfiltered chemistry that will pull you in and make you root for them with every fiber of your being. You'll feel their tension, you'll share their joy, and your heart will ache with their vulnerability. This series is for anyone who has ever experienced a love that felt like a lifetime crammed into a single day. It is for anyone looking for a story that celebrates LGBTQ+ relationships with the authenticity and heart they deserve. So, what are you waiting for? Watch episode 2 now and join Maya and Elena on this unpredictable, passionate, and beautiful roller coaster of love. The clock is ticking, and you won't want to miss a second. Make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on, because in the next episode, the countdown continues, and every choice they make could change their destiny forever. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you for episode 3. Have you ever believed that some people come back into your life for a reason? Either to fix what was broken, or to finally break what was holding you back? I always thought that, but I never expected it would be her. It had been almost 2 years since I last saw Avery. 2 quiet, painfully long years since I stood at the airport and watched her walk away. Her suitcase rolled behind her, her shoulders shook, but she never looked back. We never had a proper ending. No dramatic fight, no tearful goodbye, just an abrupt silence that stretched and stretched until it became our new normal. I told myself I'd moved on. I got a new job, made new friends, built a new life. But deep down, I knew I was lying. The news came in the simplest way possible. A text from an unknown number. Just 6 words. I'm back in town. Can we talk? My heart just stopped. My world tilted. Only one person on this entire planet could shake me to my core like that. And now, I'm standing outside the old coffee shop where we first met. The memories are flooding back, hitting me like a sudden storm. The scent of rain on the pavement, the sound of her laugh, the way her hand felt in mine. Every single detail is as vivid as if it happened yesterday. Taking a deep breath, I push the door open. The little bell chimes, just like it always did. And there she is, sitting at our table. Avery hasn't changed much. She still has those soft brown eyes that could see right through me. She's still got that nervous habit of tapping her fingers against her coffee cup. But there's something different about her now. Something gentler, maybe a little tired, something more real. She looks up, and our eyes meet across the room. Mia, she breathes out, like she has been holding my name in her lungs for 2 years and is finally letting it go. Avery. My own voice is quiet, choked with everything I never got to say. For a long moment, we just stare at each other. It's not awkward. It's heavy, full, like the air right before a thunderstorm. Finally, she breaks the silence. Thank you for coming. I manage a small shrug. You asked. I don't know if that makes me brave or just plain foolish. A faint smile touches her lips. I didn't think you would. I can't help the honesty that slips out. I almost didn't. Her eyes search mine. Why didn't you? She asks, her voice soft. Oh, the reasons. Because I'm terrified of you. Because seeing you again feels like ripping open a wound that never really healed. Because I never, ever stopped loving you. But I swallow the truth and give her the safe answer. I wanted to hear what you had to say. She takes a steadying breath. I came back because I owe you an apology. A real one. For how I left. I have to look away, out the window. The memory is still so sharp, it cuts. You didn't just leave, Avery. You disappeared. You vanished without a word. Her voice drops to a whisper. I know, and I'm so sorry. My father, he was sick, really sick, and I wasn't handling anything well. I was a mess, and I panicked. I thought I was protecting you from all my chaos. The words sting. You could have told me, I say, my voice tight. I would have been there for you. I know you would have, she admits, her voice trembling. And that's what scared me. I was so scared you'd follow me, that you'd drop everything, your career, your life here. I didn't want you to choose me over your own future. I finally turned back to look at her, my heart aching. You don't get to make that decision for me, Avery. You don't get to decide what I would have chosen. You broke my heart to protect me from something I wasn't even given the chance to face with you. The silence that follows isn't cruel this time. It's raw, vulnerable. Avery's eyes glisten with unshed tears. I know, she says, her voice thick with regret, and I live with that every single day. I'm not here expecting you to forgive me. I'm not expecting anything. I needed you to know. I needed you to hear it from me, not from anyone else. The honesty in her voice twists something deep inside me. I hate how much power she still has over my heart. Why now? I ask, needing to understand. After all this time, why come back now? She looks at me, her gaze steady and sure. Because I'm staying, she says. For good this time. My breath catches in my throat. My mind is racing. And, what does that mean? I whisper. For us? She shakes her head slowly. Whatever you want it to mean. If you want to walk out that door and never see me again, I'll let you go. If you want to start over, even just as friends, I'll take whatever you're willing to give. I just want a chance to be in your life again. In any way you'll have me. It's too much. It's not enough. It's everything I spent countless nights praying for. My pulse is pounding in my ears. I can't think. I can only feel. I stand up abruptly. Come with me. Avery looks startled, confused. Where are we going? A small, real smile finally breaks through my composure. You'll see. We walk out of the coffee shop and cross the street to the little park. The same park where we spent lazy Sunday afternoons. The same park where we carved our initials into a wooden bench. I lead her right to it. It's still there. The wood is a little more worn. The letters faded by sun and rain. But it's there. Untouched. Unforgotten. I run my fingers over the carving. I came here a lot after you left, I admit quietly. Avery steps closer, her shoulder almost brushing mine. Me too, she says. In my head, at least. I'd close my eyes and picture this bench, picture you. A cool, gentle breeze blows between us, carrying the scent of cut grass and blooming flowers. I turn to face her, ready to let it all out. Avery, I begin, my voice steadier now. I'm still hurt. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not. What you did broke me in a way I didn't think was possible. But, my voice softens. I don't hate you. I don't think I ever could. I see the hope flare in her eyes. And the worst part, I continue, a wry smile on my lips. The worst part is that a tiny, stubborn part of me is still the girl who waited for you to come back. Avery's hand reaches out slowly, cautiously, giving me every possible chance to pull away. I don't. Our fingers brush, a spark of warmth against the cool evening air. Her touch is hesitant, trembling. Mia, she whispers, her voice full of 1,000 unspoken apologies. If there is even the smallest, most microscopic chance, I will do anything to earn it. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I look at her, really look at her. The girl I loved with my whole being. The girl I lost in the most painful way. The girl who is standing right here, asking not for an ending, but for a new beginning. My heart makes the decision before my head can catch up. Then don't leave again, I murmur, the words barely audible. A single tear escapes and traces a path down her cheek, but this time, it's not from sadness. It's relief, it's hope. She shakes her head, her eyes shining. After you? Never again. Our hands intertwine, fingers lacing together perfectly, like they were always meant to be this way. Like they were never apart. And for the first time into long years, I let myself believe. Maybe some people don't return to break you again. Maybe, just maybe, they come back to love you right this time. The sun was already melting into the sea when I stepped onto the wooden deck of Pink Court, the small summer bar everyone in town knew. Every Thursday was TBT night, old songs, old memories, old vibes, but tonight felt new. Maybe it was the heat, or maybe it was the message I had received earlier. You're coming tonight, right? I want to see you. Signed, Maya. I read it over and over, pretending it was casual. It wasn't, not even close. We had met one summer ago, both tourists, both lost in our own heartbreaks. Maya had spilled a drink on me. I had laughed instead of getting upset. We had spent those 7 days talking, walking barefoot on the beach, and exchanging shy touches that said everything we were too afraid to speak out loud. Then summer ended, and so did our quiet, almost romance. But here we were again, same beach, same bar, same music, but definitely not the same feelings. As I stepped inside, neon pink lights washed over me. Couples were dancing close, girls laughing with their heads thrown back, someone filming for their channel near the entrance. Classic Pink Court energy. And then I saw her, Maya, leaning against the bar counter, wearing a loose white shirt tied at the waist and soft waves falling over her shoulders. She wasn't looking at anyone else in the room, her eyes were fixed on me. I stopped walking. She started smiling. It was happening again, the sudden rush, the warmth in my chest, the impossible gravity pulling us together. Maya took the first step, then the second. I took the third, and we met halfway, as if rehearsed by the universe. You came, Maya whispered. You asked, I replied, trying not to sound breathless. For a moment, neither of us moved. We simply stood close enough to feel the summer heat radiating off each other. Music thumped softly behind us, a slow remix that made everything feel like a movie scene. I didn't want last summer to be our only story, Maya said finally. So, I'm here, and I want you to be here too. I swallowed, my heart racing. What does here mean? Maya smiled, the gentle kind that always made me feel like I was being seen. With me, tonight, maybe longer. The crowd moved around us, laughing, dancing, clinking glasses, but none of it touched the bubble we stood in. Maya reached out, brushing a strand of hair from my cheek. The touch was feather light, but it sent a spark straight down my spine. You look nervous, Maya whispered. You look dangerous, I replied honestly. Maya laughed softly, the same laugh I remembered from last year. I missed you. I could have said I moved on. I could have said life was different, or complicated, or that I didn't think about those 7 days every time the ocean smelled like salt and mango sunscreen. But instead, I said the truth. I missed you too, every day. And that was all it took. Maya stepped closer, closing the small distance between us. The warmth of her body, the faint scent of coconut lotion, it all came rushing back. She lifted her hand and gently cupped my cheek. Can I? She asked. I nodded, Our lips met softly, at first a careful kiss, almost a question. But I leaned in, and Maya responded, deepening it just slightly, enough to feel like a promise. The music swelled, the lights flickered pink and gold, and someone in the crowd cheered as if summer itself approved. When we pulled apart, my forehead rested against Maya's. That felt like last year, I whispered. Better than last year, Maya breathed back. Because this time, I'm not going anywhere, I smiled. Then neither am I. Maya intertwined our fingers and tugged me gently toward the deck. Outside, the ocean breeze was cooler, and the sky was painted in purple sunset strokes. We sat together on the railing, shoulders touching, hands never parting. So what now? I asked. Maya leaned in again, pressing a quick kiss to my cheek. Now, we start our summer. For real this time. I squeezed her hand. Then let's make it unforgettable. And under the fading sun, with music drifting out of Pink Court, and waves breaking softly below, our second summer began, warm, bright, and full of kisses we were no longer afraid to share. The rain had just stopped when Maya pushed open the door to her tiny apartment, shaking the drops from her jacket. She was completely exhausted after a long shift, but tonight wasn't just any night. Tonight, she wasn't coming home alone. Behind her stood Leela, soft-voiced, storm-eyed, wearing Maya's oversized hoodie because hers had gotten soaked earlier. They had met barely 48 hours ago, and yet everything felt strangely inevitable, as if the universe had been waiting for this exact moment to bring them together. Are you sure it's okay? Leela asked, her voice a fragile whisper as she stepped inside, her eyes taking in the small, cozy space. Maya smiled, a warm, genuine smile that reached her eyes. She locked the door gently, creating a quiet barrier against the cold world outside. More than okay. I'm glad you're here. Leela's cheeks warmed. It was still so surreal, how fast their connection had grown. From the moment they bumped into each other at that crowded bus shelter, hands brushing by accident, it felt like lightning striking between their eyes. It wasn't just attraction, though that was definitely there. It was something deeper, something that hummed with a quiet sense of recognition, as if their souls had known each other long before their bodies had met. Now, as they stood in Maya's warm, dimly lit apartment, the air between them thickened, filled with unspoken thoughts and feelings. The scent of rain still clung to them, mixing with the faint smell of old books and chamomile tea that seemed to be a part of Maya's home. You can sit, Maya said softly, gesturing toward the only piece of furniture that wasn't a small table or a bookshelf. Make yourself at home. Leela perched on the very edge of the bed, Maya's only bed, small and neatly kept with a soft gray comforter. She tucked her knees close to her chest, a nervous habit, watching as Maya moved around the room. Maya lit a small lamp on her bedside table, and the warm glow turned her skin golden, making her look almost unreal, like a figure from a dream. I'm sorry if I'm being weird, Leela murmured, her voice barely audible. Everything just feels big tonight. Maya came and sat beside her on the bed, their shoulders brushing. The simple touch sent a pleasant shiver down Leela's spine. It feels big to me too, Maya admitted, her voice low and reassuring. Silence settled between them, but it wasn't awkward. It was the kind of charged, warm silence that's full of unspoken things. The kind of silence people only share when they trust each other without quite knowing why. It was comfortable, intimate, and held more meaning than 1,000 words ever could. Leela, Maya said gently, turning to face her. You don't have to pretend you're okay. I can see how tired you are. You had a long, rough day. It's okay to just rest. Leela's eyes dropped to the soft blanket beneath them, a knot of emotion tightening in her throat. She hadn't realized how much she'd needed to hear those words. You're the first person who has said that to me in a long time. Slowly, tentatively, Maya reached for her hand. Leela didn't pull away. She let Maya's fingers intertwine with hers. A small electric spark traveled up both their arms, a confirmation of the connection they both felt so intensely. Do you ever feel, Leela whispered, finally looking up and meeting Maya's gaze, like you've known someone forever, even if you've only just met? Maya looked at her, really looked at her, taking in the vulnerability in her storm-colored eyes. I feel that right now, she replied with absolute certainty. Leela's breath trembled. Her heart hammered against her ribs, but it wasn't from fear or anxiety. It was from recognition, from a deep, undeniable wanting. She didn't move when Maya lifted her free hand to her cheek, her touch as soft as a feather. Maya brushed a loose strand of hair away from Leela's face, her thumb gently stroking her skin. Maya, Leela breathed, her name a soft sigh on her lips. And Maya leaned forward, but she didn't rush. It wasn't a moment of frantic passion, but one of profound tenderness. She let her forehead rest against Leela's, giving her space, giving her a choice to pull away. She didn't. Their lips touched a soft, searching kiss that felt like a sigh, like a promise whispered in the quiet room. It was hesitant at first, a question asked and answered in the same breath. Leela's pulse fluttered as she kissed back, her fingers tightening around Maya's hand. There was nothing heavy about it, nothing fast. It was just warmth, just closeness, just two women learning the shape of each other's affection, discovering a language that needed no words. When they pulled apart, Leela's eyes were glassy with unshed tears. I didn't think I'd feel something like that again. You deserve to, Maya whispered, her voice full of a conviction that soothed Leela's frayed nerves. You deserve to feel everything. Leela's gaze dropped to the bed beneath them. She bit her lip, a blush creeping up her neck. Is it okay if I stay here tonight? I don't mean, she trailed off, embarrassed. I don't want to be alone. Maya squeezed her hand, her expression softening with understanding. Then stay. We'll just sleep, just rest, together. A wave of relief washed over Leela, so powerful it made her shoulders slump. She nodded, a small, grateful smile touching her lips. She slipped off her worn-out sneakers, climbed properly onto the bed, and pulled the blanket up to her chest, the fabric feeling like a shield. Maya turned off the lamp, plunging the room into a comfortable darkness, broken only by the faint city lights filtering through the window. She joined Leela, lying close but not crowding her, giving her the space she needed. The bed was small, but it didn't feel cramped. It felt like an island. After a moment of quiet, Leela shifted, turning onto her side and letting her head rest against Maya's shoulder. It felt so natural, so right. Your bed is warm, Leela whispered into the dark. Maya smiled, a sound more than a sight. You make it warmer, she replied. Leela laughed quietly, the first real, unrestrained laugh Maya had heard from her. It was a beautiful sound, and it filled the room like light, chasing away the last of the shadows. Their breaths began to sink in the quiet room, rising and falling in a gentle rhythm. Beneath the blanket, their fingers found each other again, their hands linking in a gesture of simple, profound comfort. Maya, Leela whispered after a while, her voice sleepy. Yes, I was falling for you the moment we met. Maya felt her heart expand in her chest, a slow, certain warmth spreading through her. She held Leela's hand a little tighter. Then fall, she whispered back. I'm right here. Leela closed her eyes, letting the safety of the moment wrap around her like the warmest blanket. Outside, the world was chaotic and cold, unpredictable and loud. But inside this small apartment, inside this small bed, something quiet and gentle had bloomed. It wasn't lust. It wasn't a rush. It was simply love at first sight, finding a safe place to land. And that place was their bed. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. We'll see you in the next one. The studio lounge was far quieter than it should have been on a Friday evening. Most interns had already left, leaving only the low hum of old air conditioning and the faint echoes of footsteps fading down the hall. Mina sat at the far end of the long sofa, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable as always, cool, composed, and utterly unshakable. Lynn pushed the door open with her shoulder, carefully carrying 2 steaming paper cups. The warmth from the cups seeped into her fingers, a stark contrast to the chilly atmosphere Mina always seemed to carry with her. Still editing? Lynn's voice was soft, intentionally gentle, so as not to startle the focused editor. Mina didn't look up from her laptop, her fingers still poised over the keyboard. Deadlines don't finish themselves. Her tone was clipped, efficient. Lynn just smiled and walked over, placing one of the cups on the small table beside her. Hot chocolate. Extra marshmallows, she announced, because someone needs sugar in their system before she turns into an actual ice sculpture. Mina finally paused, her eyes shifting to the cup as if it were some strange alien offering. I don't need, just drink it, Lynn interrupted, her voice firm but kind. She dropped onto the sofa next to Mina, the cushions sighing under her weight. For a moment, a long, tense moment, Mina did nothing. Then slowly, as if against her better judgment, she wrapped her fingers around the warm cup and took a small sip. Lynn watched, not wanting to be obvious, as Mina's shoulders relaxed, just a fraction of an inch. It was almost imperceptible, but Lynn saw it. She always caught these little things when it came to Mina. The two of them had been paired for a documentary project 3 weeks ago. It was a classic case of opposites attract, or perhaps opposites clashing. Lynn, the cheerful, chatty filmmaker who saw stories in every shadow, and Mina, the silent, perfectionist editor who saw only timelines and cut points. Sparks definitely did not fly at first. In fact, Lynn often wondered if Mina secretly disliked her, if her constant stream of ideas and chatter was an annoyance. But then, little things started happening. Small, almost invisible gestures that began to chip away at Lynn's assumptions. She noticed Mina waiting for her after long production meetings, lingering by the door until Lynn had packed up her things. She'd find her favorite snacks mysteriously appearing on her desk, right when she needed a boost. And lately, there was the staring, quite a lot of staring. Intense, focused gazes from across the room that would vanish the moment Lynn caught her eye. But every single time the air between them grew warm, every time a genuine connection seemed possible, Mina would pull back, retreating behind that formidable icy shell. Tonight, though, something felt different. The exhaustion of the week hung in the air, but there was something else too, a vulnerability that Lynn hadn't sensed before. Leaning back against the sofa, Lynn stretched her arms above her head with a groan. "We've been working non-stop for days. You know, normal people take breaks." Mina carefully set her now half-empty cup on the table. "Breaks slow you down, and being a robot slows your humanity," Lynn teased, nudging Mina's arm playfully. Mina shot her a sharp glare, but Lynn could see there was no real bite in it. She could see the corners of Mina's lips fighting a smile, a tiny tremor of amusement she was trying so hard to suppress. The silence that fell between them this time was softer, more comfortable. It wasn't an absence of words, but a shared space of quiet understanding. Finally, Lynn gathered her courage. She nudged her knee gently against Mina's, a small, deliberate touch. "Want to talk about what's really bothering you?" Mina froze, her entire body going rigid. "Nothing is, Mina." Lynn said her name slowly, warmly, infusing it with all the patience she had. It was a single word, but it seemed to cut through all the walls, all the defenses Mina had built. Mina inhaled, a long, shaky breath that betrayed her calm exterior. I'm not good at this." Her voice was barely a whisper. "At what?" Lynn asked, her own voice just as quiet. "At." Mina gestured vaguely with her hand, a frustrated motion in the space between them. "Whatever this is." Lynn's heart did a little flip in her chest. This was it. This was the moment of truth. "Then let me help," she said, her voice filled with a sincerity she hoped Mina could feel. A dangerous softness filled Mina's dark eyes, a look of longing and fear all at once. She swallowed hard. "You make it sound so simple." "It can be," Lynn whispered, letting her leg rest against Mina's. This time, Mina didn't pull away. Encouraged, Lynn scooted closer, closing the small, fragile distance that separated them. The scent of Mina's shampoo, something clean and subtle, filled her senses. "Tell me to stop," Lynn murmured, her voice a low thrum in the quiet room, "and I will. I promise." Mina didn't speak. She didn't blink. She didn't move. But she didn't stop her either. That was all the permission Lynn needed. Slowly, so slowly, Lynn lifted her hand, her fingers trembling slightly as she brushed a loose strand of dark hair behind Mina's ear. The touch was electric. Mina's breath hitched, and a faint blush bloomed on her cheeks, the palest pink, but unmistakable against her fair skin. "You're not made of ice, you know," Lynn murmured, her thumb gently stroking Mina's cheekbone. "Feels like I am sometimes," Mina confessed, her voice thick with emotion. "Then let me melt you." The words hung in the air between them, fragile, trembling, and full of promise. And then, in a move that took Lynn completely by surprise, Mina leaned in first. It was barely a movement, a slight tilt of her head, but it was enough. It was everything. It was enough for Lynn to close the final inch between them. Their lips met softly, carefully, as if both of them were afraid the moment might shatter if they moved too fast. It was a kiss of questions, of tentative exploration. Mina's breath trembled against Lynn's mouth, and she could feel Mina's fingers curling tightly into the sofa cushions, anchoring herself to the moment. Lynn cupped Mina's cheek, her touch slow and steady, trying to communicate all her reassurance, all her patience, through that simple gesture. She guided Mina gently into the kiss, letting her know it was okay to let go. And then, Mina melted. Truly, completely melted. Her hand, which had been clenched by her side, slid to Lynn's waist, pulling her closer with an unexpected boldness, a sudden claiming. Lynn smiled into the kiss, a wave of triumph and joy washing over her. She could feel every second of restraint, every wall, every icy barrier slipping from Mina's grip. Emboldened by Lynn's response, Mina kissed her again deeper this time, all hesitation dissolving like snow under a warm spring sun. It was a kiss of release, of pent-up feelings finally breaking free. When they finally parted, both of them breathless, Mina looked away, completely flustered. Her breath was uneven, and the blush on her cheeks had deepened. I didn't mean to. That is, Lynn silenced her by gently placing a finger on her lips. Don't apologize. Never for that. Mina's gaze finally met hers again, her eyes vulnerable and wide open in a way Lynn had never, ever seen before. The Ice Queen was gone, and in her place was just Mina. So what now? Mina whispered, the question hanging in the air, full of uncertainty. Now, Lynn said, her voice soft as she brushed her forehead against Mina's, you stop running from what you feel. And she pressed a soft, lingering kiss to the corner of Mina's lips. I keep melting you. Little by little, a small, real smile finally broke through on Mina's face. I want that, and I think, Lynn said, wrapping an arm around her, pulling her close, you deserve it. For the first time since they met, Mina leaned fully into her warmth, the ice breaking, her heart melting, piece by fragile, beautiful piece. The deep, thrumming bass of Mimata vibrated through the dim, neon-lit rooftop bar, washing the entire space in waves of pulsing pink and electric blue. The music was a living thing, its heartbeat echoing the frantic rhythm in Claire's chest. She stood near the railing, her arms wrapped tightly around herself, a fragile shield against the storm brewing inside her. The city wind whipped her hair against her cheeks, but it was nothing compared to the hurricane of emotions Belle's presence stirred. Belle was here. Belle, with her impossibly soft eyes and that teasing half-smile that always made Claire feel like she was guarding a universe of secrets Claire desperately wanted to unlock. Claire had made a solemn promise to herself. She wouldn't fall again. Not for Belle. Not after the way everything had shattered, leaving her to pick up the pieces of her own heart. It was a promise she had repeated like a mantra for months, a wall she had carefully built brick by brick. But now, with Belle just a few feet away, that wall was starting to feel like sand. Then, a gentle tap on her shoulder. The touch was so light, yet it sent a jolt through her entire body. She knew who it was before she even turned. Didn't think you'd come, Belle said. Her voice was a melody of warmth and uncertainty, a sound Claire had missed more than she ever admitted to herself. Claire turned slowly, her movements feeling heavy, deliberate. Didn't think you'd want me to, she replied, her own voice barely a whisper, laced with the old hurt that still lingered. A soft, breathy laugh escaped Belle's lips. You know that's not true. Just then, the music dropped into a deeper, more intimate beat. Mimata, the lyrics a haunting echo of her own turmoil. It kills me. And with that drop, something inside Claire finally loosened its painful grip. She looked into Belle's eyes, searching, pleading to find the lies she had braced herself for. But there was nothing, only the same raw, unmistakable longing that had been her own constant companion since the night they stopped speaking. It was a mirror reflecting her own heartache right back at her. Why did you ask me here? Claire whispered, needing an answer, needing to understand why Belle would reopen this wound. Belle took a step closer. The space between them shrank until Claire could feel the warmth of her breath, smell the familiar scent of her perfume. Because I'm tired of pretending, Belle said, her voice low and earnest. I am tired of pretending I don't miss you every single second of every single day. Claire's heart stuttered, a wild bird beating against her ribs. Belle, she started, a warning, a plea, she wasn't sure which. No, listen, Belle insisted, her own vulnerability showing as her hands trembled slightly. She reached for Claire's, her touch hesitant. You walked out because I was scared. I was terrified. But losing you scared me more. It was a different kind of fear, a deeper kind. The kind that keeps you awake at night. Claire swallowed the hard lump forming in her throat, the unshed tears burning behind her eyes. The air between them grew thick, charged with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. The world around them seemed to blur, the rooftop, the city lights, the other people all fading into a soft, indistinct background. The only thing in sharp focus was Belle's fingers, brushing against the back of her hand, a feather-light touch that was both an apology and a question. The entire night felt suspended in this single, fragile moment. Suddenly, The DJ shifted the track. Mimata swelled, the beat intensifying, the energy shaking the rooftop floor. A cheer went up from the crowd, bodies swaying and dancing under the hypnotic neon glow. Belle seemed to take the sudden burst of noise as a sign, a rush of courage. She gently tugged Claire's hand, pulling her toward the center of the rooftop, toward the heart of the music and the crowd. Claire hesitated, her old anxieties flaring up. Belle, everyone's watching, she murmured, her voice tight. The thought of all those eyes on them, on this intensely private moment, was overwhelming. I don't care, Belle said, her voice firm, resolute. Not anymore. The conviction in her words was a revelation. This was a different Belle than the one who had let fear drive them apart. A blush of heat rose to Claire's cheeks, but she didn't pull her hand away. She let Belle guide her, her feet moving almost of their own accord, drawn into the magnetic pull of the music and the woman in front of her. They began to sway, their movements slow and out of sync with the frenetic beat, as if they were caught in their own private rhythm, a bubble in time just for them. Belle's hands found Claire's waist, tentative at first, then settling with a sureness that sent shivers down Claire's spine. Responding instinctively, Claire's fingers brushed against Belle's shoulders, then slid around her neck, her hands tangling in the soft hair at her nape. Their foreheads touched, and the contact was electric. Claire closed her eyes, letting go, letting the powerful current between them speak the words they couldn't find. Tell me I didn't ruin everything, Belle murmured against her skin, her voice thick with emotion, so close it was almost a thought in Claire's own mind. Claire's own voice cracked when she answered. You didn't ruin it, you scared me. Then let me fix it, Belle whispered, her voice a promise. Claire opened her eyes. Belle was so close, a breathtaking reality. Her breath was warm against Claire's lips, her mouth just inches away. A dizzying rush of memories flooded Claire's mind, stolen glances across crowded rooms, whispered secrets during midnight phone calls, the unforgettable feeling of Belle's first kiss by the river, a moment that had felt like the beginning of everything. Her chest ached with the sheer weight of all the love she had so desperately tried to lock away, to forget. You still want this? Claire whispered, needing to hear it one more time, needing the final reassurance. Belle nodded, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. I want you, she said, her voice breaking on the last word. And just like that, it was over. The fight, the resistance, the pretending. Claire was done. She leaned in, the movement slow, delicate, almost hesitant at first. Her lips brushed against Belle's in the softest of contacts, as if she were afraid the moment was a dream that might shatter. Belle inhaled sharply, her fingers tightening around Claire's waist, anchoring her, grounding her in this reality. And then Belle kissed her back. It wasn't hesitant. It was deep and full and desperate. A kiss that poured every unspoken apology, every ounce of longing, every single sleepless night into the space between their lips. It was a kiss that said, I'm sorry, I miss you, I love you, all at once. The noise of the rooftop bar dimmed to a distant hum. The biting wind softened into a gentle caress. The neon lights painted their skin in shifting shades of pink and blue, flickering like the pulse of something new being born, something precious being reborn. Claire felt the world tilt on its axis, but Belle's grip held her steady, safe. She melted into the kiss, finally allowing herself to feel everything she had so fiercely denied for months, the comforting warmth of Belle's hands on her skin, the sweet taste of her lip gloss, the soft, trembling breath Belle let out each time their lips parted, only to find each other again. When they finally pulled away, breathless and flushed, their faces glowing in the neon light, Claire rested her forehead against Belle's shoulder, feeling the steady beat of her heart. I hate that you still make my heart do this, Claire whispered, her voice a mix of exasperation and pure relief. Belle laughed softly, a sound that was pure happiness. I hope you never stop. Claire looked up at her, tears glistening in her eyes but refusing to fall. Promise you won't run again? The question held all her lingering fears. Belle cupped her cheek, her thumb gently stroking her skin. Only if you promise to stay. Claire let out a long, shuddering exhale, the sound of walls crumbling, of armor falling away for the first time in months. I'm here, she said, her voice clear and strong. I'm staying. Belle's smile grew, spreading across her face like a sunrise after a long dark night. It was the smile Claire had fallen in love with. They kissed again, slower this time, sweeter, filled not with desperation but with the certainty of a new beginning. There was no fear left, only hope. And there, under the vast neon sky, surrounded by strangers and music and the ghosts of their past. Claire and Belle chose each other all over again. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe for more love stories. We'll see you in the next one.